Last time on Reckless Attack.
Alaroth, the PI tree guy, brings more nightly attacks to the party's attention. They learn of a merchant and librarian who fall prey to these creatures of darkness and have some leads to investigate in the days to come. Find out what happens next on Reckless Attack.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello. Ooh, that was like almost a bit of
Did we harmonize?
harmonization. That's the
I can like
totally
totally
word I was
later,
struggling
yeah.
with.
Totally unintentional, I assure you.
I mean, that's
Could not do it again if we tried.
Nope,
I-
not
and,
at all.
and also, I'm sure that any listener who's like any degree of accomplished musician was like, no, that was not at all. Not even a little
Yeah.
bit harmonization. You guys just kind of like made noise at roughly
Yeah.
the same pitch.
I couldn't actually define harmonized if I tried.
You know, it's when the notes they sound good together
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
for
We got
reasons.
there, yeah.
Yep. For sound waves
Yeah.
and wave files, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is Reckless Attack, everybody. We are actually a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition podcast, not a musical podcast.
In no way
Thank-
musical
thank
podcast.
God.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think we will ever have that like Scrubs musical episode of Reckless Attack. Probably.
We do this for you, the listeners. So
Yes.
you don't have to listen to us sing.
Exactly. It's for your own good that we have chosen not to do this. That was on session 0. We're like, oh, we all want this, but we just can't.
Can't subject you to this.
I'm Nathan. I'm the Dungeon Master, and I'm so excited to be joined here with all of my beautiful luminescent players. I could come up with luminescent and not harmonize, and that's just where I'm at right now, which I think is kind of a fun place.
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve, and I am playing Sylv Esterlin, the Dragonborn monk, who is looking forward to exploring a bit of his dragon heritage by going down into the vault and seeing what kind of treasures down there.
What he can sit on.
Because, you know, there's a couple people that have already claimed the map room, so maybe if there's a big pile of treasure, I can just curl up on that and go to sleep.
I don't think it was claimed the map room.
And
Attempted
I
to.
like the idea that gold is the dirt of self,
Yeah.
where
Right.
Checkers has like accumulated his dirt pile, and you're like, well, I guess gold is what I need.
Yeah.
A bed
Well,
is fine, but I actually want to sleep on that.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, and if DuckTales has taught us anything, it's that you can swim rather pleasantly in a giant
Too true.
vault of gold.
Too true.
So-
I love DuckTales.
You guys, let's just start a DuckTales podcast.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. It's Reckless Attack, your favorite 5th edition DuckTales podcast.
Woo!
I'm David, and I play Kaskrin Brightmane, the Dwarven Warlock. Kaskrin is contemplating what Alarith has done to the walls that he can phase through them and is considering options to stop that.
To ensure that
Very
does
true.
not
Yeah.
happen.
Very true.
I love that moment last episode where both you, David, and you, Steve, and also Selv and Cass were both like, okay.
That's a
okay.
flaw we need to
That's
take care
cool.
of.
Like, that's a
But-
thing that can happen. Okay, all right. Hi, everyone. It's Jonathan, and I play Checkers, the Grung Druid, and his trusty frog pal Mango, and his smaller trusty frog pal Junior. And as I continue doing this intro, it's going to get longer and longer as I bring on more frogs. But
So be it. I welcome our frog overlords.
Checkers is very happy today because he finally gets to go and explore this great, beautiful city that he's heard so much
Yes.
about. And
Which city?
Agmar, the red city of Agmar.
There, thank you. Show some respect.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
you.
The
your
red
new-
city of Agmar.
It's your new home. You say that with capital letters.
Right,
Thank
exactly.
you.
Life is like a hurricane here in Agmar.
Don't
No,
get
no.
it. Carry on.
Yeah.
All right.
hmm And that's going to be his whole day. But finally,
Hi, it's me, Sophie. I play Valeska Carter, the human astric cleric of the Arcana domain. I've mastered my intro and don't have a weird pause in it anymore.
Behold my evolution. 20
Yeah,
episodes of
yeah.
podcast power.
Level 20 player unlocked.
Yeah, by the way, happy episode 20, everybody.
we did
Yay.
it. Yeah, we're
We
here.
are
episode
we are
20.
a fully leveled Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Now it is just what's the
Epic
God
levels?
tier.
epic levels?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We need some mythic feats for
Mythic
our
feats.
Yeah.
for our level 3 characters.
Well, this level 3 character is very excited to get to her to-do list and has delegated a few things, or will be delegating a few things to Berga,
Smart.
because I, Sophie, should not put the listener through all 16 points of her to-do list, one of which has 8 subpoints.
But that is right, everyone. It is now finally, sort of, time for free exploration period here in the Red City of Agmar.
Dun, dun, dun!
There is a slight, I won't say, not a timer on it, more of a stopping point for today's revelries in terms of the exploration, the shopping, the errand running, because not but a few hours ago, you all were attacked by a horror creature, best known, I think, embraced by at least the reckless attack community around this table as the Goth Moth. Are still getting back into the swing of things, but also, obviously, are recently hired by Alorith, the strange tree detective? Tree?
I don't know.
I'll
A for
workshop
effort.
that. I'll workshop that.
Tree?
Ooh, detect tree's not bad. Whatever the Pokemon name is.
Detritus.
Ooh. We'll run a poll after this episode. You guys get it.
The PI tree guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. That's good.
Described to you that several other attacks had happened within the city walls, and he seemed pretty forthright, but he was still definitely had no real clear connections just yet that he had determined. But you guys seemed to read him as a relatively straightforward person who would not lie to you, at least, even if he was willing to not tell you certain things. The plan was hatched that essentially you guys go about your day. If you do any amount of interviewing or of looking into records, you most certainly can. But otherwise, you would meet at sundown later today and figure out your plan of attack, whatever that may be.
Wah, wah, wah.
But, as we said last episode, there are some things that both the characters and the players have been champing at the bit to do here in the Red City of Agmar. And that is where we drop in, everybody. If it's all right with you all, we will assume you have all gotten ready for the day.
Mhm.
Whatever you hadn't already to go down and have your meeting. What does the remainder of your morning look like? Do you do anything? Do you grab breakfast? Do you have a meeting, a huddle up? What do you do? How do things go for your morning?
I think the thing that we would do is kind of a continuation of what we did last time, which is just do a little bit of planning, a little bit of talking around what our day is going to look like for everyone, and then maybe just go our separate ways afterwards.
Mhm.
Just because I know, we last time we split up into a few different directions. We had the vault, we had the post office, we had a bunch of other things. So I'm imagining that's what happens for this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit more of a regrouping and then discussion, and then we kind of do whatever.
Here's a weird question. What do you guys wear when you're just wandering around the city? Some of you have armors. Some of you have ceremonial wardrobes. Some of you just have tricorn hats and kilts. Yeah, what do you guys go out usually, especially on days like today where you're like, oh, I'm sure nothing of note is going to happen today. I don't need any of my various weapons. Or do you just go out fully strapped, so to speak?
Checkers looks pretty much exactly the same as he usually does because he's got his hat, he's got his cloak, he's got his frog, he's got his other frog, he's got his kilt, and his crossbow, and for the most part, looks as though he were both ready to go into battle and also to sleep at the exact same time.
It's all the same.
Right.
Selv is probably wearing his non-formal gi, but he generally like that's just kind of what he wears is like a loose fitting pants and the tunic kind of wrap top. Generally, he has at least his quarterstaff with him that he kind of uses as a walking stick, just while he'd be walking around town. And also because it's good to have something in case something happens. Even though he is also good at unarmed combat, it's just kind of more of a habit to have something with him. But yeah, other than that, most of his other items are probably in his room, unless he is specifically going out and knowing he's going to be getting into some kind of fight.
Kaskrin, when he goes out, he's not wearing his full plate, but he's still wearing kind of like clean looking leather armor. It's like, I don't want to say a duster, but it's just like a long kind of leather cloak and and outfit. Almost like a coat, basically.
Yeah, cool.
The one thing that it does is basically shows off his stony arms and kind of the bottoms of his rock feet, just to accentuate that, but it's just kind of like a traveling outfit.
He knows he looks good.
Yeah.
I want them to know. I want them to see.
Val, if it's an errand day or just hanging out at the guild hall, she would not be wearing her armor. She has a flowy shirt underneath her armor that she wears, so it would probably just be that and not her studded leather armor. But she probably would carry her shield with her, kind of a Selv where it's like something she always carries.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's got her holy symbol on
Yeah,
it, so it's a
exactly.
little bit more personal item than her
totally.
armor would be.
And it's I would imagine it being, I've always pictured anything with a holy symbol in it as almost being kind of decorative and ceremonial. And so very like, you're not just wandering around with like, well, here's just a trash can lid that
She
I'm
would
carrying
probably,
around.
yeah, like,
It's something
wear
cool.
it as like a backpack.
Yeah,
almost.
exactly. As you guys are getting ready for the day, discussing potentially eating breakfast,
We do have like 10 pounds of jerky.
you have 10 pounds of jerky. And also if you want something a little fresher, Torts and Ports is just down the way. But
We haven't gone in the morning for the bakery, guys.
Oh, no.
well, good news. You'll have many mornings. Or you can go this morning. The world is your oyster.
Or depending on what happens, we won't go this morning and won't be able to go again.
Yes, if in case it goes
Ever.
very poorly. Berga is there checking in with you guys, trying to help, that sort of thing. You have not seen Taroth anywhere this morning. It might be concerning. I don't know what your feelings around that information is. Berga is again there with you, her very tall horns, her bright skin, rolling around helping you guys, asking you, well, so your first day in the city, obviously it was a strange start, but what do you have planned for today? And is asking you about that. We've already talked about what you have planned for today, but she would ask you what you have planned for today. And she says, by the way, I received a message earlier today as you were all getting ready. The captain of the Red Guard sends her apologies, as does the Shield of the Bones. They are indisposed this morning and will not be able to make their rounds and apologize, but will be sure to visit later.
The captain of the Red Guard is Jack Brill, right?
No. We know Jack is a lovely person, but he is only a lieutenant. The captain is named Vina Calvetta. You have not met this individual yet.
Okay. Thank you, Berga.
Good to know.
Keeping track of everybody.
Yes.
Val writes in her notebook. But I think on the to-do for today is check out the vault.
The vault.
Oh, yeah, of course, yes. There's a little bit of tiny bit of setup, but it won't take long. But
I'm
I need to be.
assuming-
It's a whole thing.
I'm assuming things will have to be disarmed before we go down there.
I think you will have a very fun pun. Remember what you just said, but keep eating. We will go to the vault when you are done.
Oh, no. I'm a little worried now.
It'll be fine. And then Cass and Checkers, we're going to go out and about in the city.
Yes. We've got a couple errands to take care of, but otherwise, shouldn't take too long.
Potentially might join you for the post office if timing works out.
So, to clarify, I thought we were all going to the vault. Or no? Are you guys?
I have not specified who is coming to the vault. I
Okay,
said the vault
yeah.
is
It's
on the list.
It's actually easier if we all go all at the same time. You don't have to. It's just we can all get it all done.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing that we need to do.
Sophie, was not, or playing Val, was not trying to exclude anyone from the
Yes,
vault.
I see.
No one can see it, only Val.
Yeah. Why don't we start the morning off right then and check out the vault?
Okay, yeah.
Let's
let's,
As I, David, the player, I'm like, heck yeah.
and she says, oh yes, excellent. Taroth, where are you? Get over here. And from one of the cupboard doors slams open. And sitting there, it's totally empty, this cupboard. You don't know if it was totally empty, except for the strange, horrible imp that is technically a member of your guild.
Hi, Taroth. Good entrance.
Hello, yes. What is it, mistress? What do you require of me? Clean the plates, please. Come. Yes. And Taroth,
Great.
creeps over to the table as you guys all leave the room, and you do not see what horrible
Oh,
things he does.
I just imagine him licking them and then
I
putting them
wasn't
in the
going to say it
cupboard.
out loud. I was letting the imaginations run.
One thing I wanted to point out as we're all eating breakfast and Berga's in the room with us, Kaskrin, after realizing what she has embedded in her,
Mhm.
is still very friendly with her, but you can tell like his kind of smile lines when he's talking with her fade, and he makes a point to basically never touch her. If she asks for help, he tries to avoid like being around her, but he's happy to talk to her from like across the table.
As a reminder for listeners and anyone around the table, Berga was formerly a guilder here at the Golden Tree, but even former to that, she is still a Knight of Talon's Fury, and she gets some amount of power, it seems like, from a strange shard of metal embedded into her chest, her heart. It's not entirely clear, at least I don't think we went into that level of anatomical detail, but it is actually a shard of an object of focus, a legendary artifact level item that was a part of Rixia's history. She still gets a degree of power from that.
Yeah, so he just makes sure to keep his distance.
Yeah. You guys all follow Berga, I presume. You travel down a long hallway, and eventually you get to a very nondescript wooden door that looks like any other wooden door, and Berga swings it open. There is another hallway in a way that doesn't make sense to exist there, where it's like, well, but like that's not how far the building.
Blueprints of the guild hall float in front of Val's
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait,
It's like the Hangover gif of
I
all
was
of the
expecting
calculations.
a room, not a hallway.
Yeah. And so this hallway continues on 20, 30 feet. It's not super long, but it is too long. And Berga, without hesitation, rolls down it. But at the end of these long halls with no other doors, is one single door that, again, seems to be totally nondescript. She wheels up and waits for you guys to kind of catch up and be there. She says, okay, this is really cool. I need to put my hand here, and puts her hand on the doorknob, basically, and grasps it. And she says, okay, see the four of you, it's glad there's only four. There are 4 panels on the door, yes. Put one hand, whichever hand you open doors with. I know that's very specific. Take your time to think about that. Put that hand there, please.
Val, like, you know, when you're trying to figure out your dominant foot, you like step forward.
Yes.
She kind of like closes her eyes and like puts her hand out to open doors. Like, wait, right, left, right. Okay. She takes this very seriously. She's not trying to be like sarcastic or anything.
yeah.
She's like, I'm going to get this right.
I will
And
get
it's
it
like,
right.
Right hand. Okay.
Checkers will sort of jump from Mango onto the top of Cascarin's head and then just put his right hand on the door.
Excellent. Perfect.
Val will take the other lower one opposite Cascarin.
Got it?
Yeah, and Cascarin moves forward and puts his stony hand on the door, bringing Checkers in line as well.
I'm trying to figure this out because Steve, opens the door with whichever hand is most convenient. And I don't really have. I think Selv would put his left hand on because his weapon would be in his right hand.
Totally.
So he would generally open doors with his left hand because he's got a weapon in his right hand.
And,
Yeah.
and I think that is why Berger asked it like that, where it's like, which hand do you need to have definitely be the one? Berga looks to ensure all of your hands are kind of making full contact. She says a phrase in a language that you guys do not understand. Val, can I see your list of languages, please?
Is ancient vault on the list?
I have a free space because I never decided.
Val, you understand what she says.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
Or at least you understand. No, you understand what she says. Because, and some of you may have heard this before, and you understand it adjacently, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, we have a very complicated language system. It is available on social media and other places. But essentially, if you know a language, you also know some kind of adjacent root languages.
Mm-hmm.
This, what she is saying, is Maker Speak,
Yes!
which is kind of an ancient magical language that was essentially passed down by the gods, or like descended directly from the language of the gods that mortals have used and repurposed, and now is used just kind of as like a almost continental shorthand. We're like, for example, in our world, all the craftsmen of North America would all know this like cant almost, and be able to speak to each other quickly about and universally about prices, about sizes, about all that kind of thing. And what she is saying is a root language to the one that you know, so an ancient version of the language that you know. You don't know the exact, but the gist that you get is that the golden tree something commands you to open. As she says this, in a perfect outline around each of your hands, a bright blue light glows. It stays that way for a moment, and then the light goes across the entire doorway. There is no wood visible, and it just becomes a blanket wall of light that eventually shimmers and fades and now opens straight into the vault of the golden tree.
Ew, cool.
I think Caskrin and Val had the exact same idea. Caskrin is thinking, like, is this related to the portal that we saw the shepherd make?
Sophie, was thinking that. I think Val was just
Okay.
staring
Yeah.
at it
David
in
was
amazement.
thinking that too. Yeah. Anyway.
Berga says, now that we have done that once, officially with me a registered member of the guild as far as this door, vault, whatever it is, I don't really know the specifics, I just kind of know the phrase and how it works vaguely, you all should be able to speak this word and I'll write it down for you. It is, I guess, whatever the equivalent of the Wi-Fi password is around here, so we'll just write it down and you won't need to remember it. But
Do we have to change it every 3 months?
I take care of that. No, it doesn't actually. She says, but you say it, you have your hand. I don't know for sure. I think it has to be a living hand. I think. I'm not entirely sure. But a hand on the doorknob and you say the word and it opens. Simple as that. But as far as I know and have been told, totally impenetrable to anyone who does not have the word and is not a member of the guild.
Awesome.
Cool.
So through this door, you see several things. Generally, it is a relatively decently sized room, once again in a way that makes no sense for the architecture of this building, but it is well sized, and really what's notable about it is that there are tons of shelves and tables and workspaces, and just like imagine any sort of surface that could be in here, it is there. And there are chests that are open, there are that sort of thing, and a lot of this looks very old. Not unstable, but old. But also, throughout this room, as you guys would enter it, you find some treasure.
Treasure. Great.
Well,
God, it's like
interesting.
you guys grew up together.
Yeah.
When we talked about this before the session started, I, Nathan the DM, have prepared a few magic items and a few bits of trinkets and treasure that would be appropriate, knowing that the former guilders were out on an adventure when they disappeared. They probably had most of their best stuff on them, but not necessarily all of it. And also, they were the first guilders here in Agmar for a while. They really hadn't had a lot of time to just accumulate a bunch of shit or rediscover a bunch of shit. So what we've decided is we are going to roll on a random treasure hoard table here in the Dungeon Masters Guild. Or Dungeon Masters Guide. And I'm going to tweak a couple things. I kind of, so anyone who looks up the DMG table will be like, Nathan, that's not what that number is at all. And I will say, well, fuck you. I wrote.
I do what I want.
That's right. I wrote in Sharpie in this DMG. Mine's different. Don't worry about it.
Wait, no, that's mine.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We all make sacrifices for the podcast, for our art, Sophie. So what we're doing is we are going to roll on because I'm a generous DM and know that you will need all the help you can get.
Oh, no.
The challenge rating 5 to 10 treasure hoard table.
Ooh.
For those who don't know or haven't used it before, basically you roll a percentile dice to see what you get. You get a certain amount of gem or art objects because it's
Great.
D&D,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
not? And then on certain versions of it, and you get to roll on
that's
amount of gold. and that
Now
kind of
that's
thing.
good for spell components. So,
Yeah,
hey,
sure.
you need a 500 gold piece diamond. Maybe we have one.
Might be there.
Yeah, true.
But you also get to roll a certain amount of times on a separate magic item table. So this is like a cascading
Cool.
experience
I
that we're
love
all
it.
going to be going
There
on.
are tables within tables.
Who do you trust around the table to roll the best on a D100?
It's got to be Steve.
It's 100% Steve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've already shown we can only roll ones and twos.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Steve, if it makes
Wow.
you feel better, my choice was going to be Jonathan.
Okay,
so-
good.
I defer to Steve. So I mean,
All right. Steve, could you roll me a D100, please?
Oh, nice.
Ah.
All right, here we go. 53.
Ooh.
Middle of the road.
Perfectly
All
average.
right.
And I'm also going to be adjusting the amount of gold that you guys get because you guys don't need that much gold. First of all, I'm auto-generating the amount of gold you have.
So excited.
Hand of, I don't know what this is. Go to the next one.
You guys get 800 gold pieces.
Oh,
wow.
And that is adjusted. Because again, like, I want cool magic items. Like, more gold is cool, but like, cool magic items. David, could you
Yes.
please roll me 3d6?
I can. That is
Oh.
13.
So part of that is in gems and such, but there is a diamond worth 500 gold pieces,
Ooh.
which you as a adventurer would know would be a valuable resource for things like resurrection spells that has been stashed away by some forward-thinking adventurer in here
That's
who did
cool.
not need it. Jonathan,
Yes.
would you roll a 1d4, please?
A 1d4 for sure. Good old checkers die. 3.
You get to roll 3 times on this magic
nice.
item
Hell yeah.
table.
Nice.
Ooh, back to D100s.
Oh.
Sophie, could you roll me a D100, please?
Yeah.
I like how many tables we have.
This is this is awesome.
89.
Ooh, wow.
Nice.
Oh, no. What's happening?
Nathan's like, do I need
Nathan's figuring
Yeah.
out how to adjust this. I've rolled too powerfully.
No, it's not that you've rolled too powerfully. I'm just adjusting the one. I'll tell you later
Okay.
what you rolled, and I think you'll be happy that I'm not giving this to you.
I fully trust you.
Val, you go up to something and you just happen to see a 2 or 3 foot long pole. I'm not going to say those are the exact dimensions. I'm not going to look. You get it's a
Yeah.
short thing.
Yeah.
A rod-sized thing, and you're kind of playing with it, and you know it's in here, so it must be something interesting and magical. And you're kind of like turning it around in your hand, and as you do, your hand's just kind of like it brushes up against like a wall or something, and then it just stops.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you try to like yank it a little bit. Nothing. Not at all. Not even a little bit does it budge.
Yeah.
Because what you've received is an immovable rod.
We didn't get a single immovable rod in like 40 years of playing our
No.
last campaign, and we get one on like day 2.
Yeah. An immovable rod.
Wow.
And this is not to say that that is Val's magic item, of course,
No,
but
no. Guys, I found an immovable rod, and Val is just like hanging on it, all legs and hands on it, like just like trying to swing,
You
trying to move it. It's not
Does
working.
that mean it can only be used in here?
I haven't found out how to move it again.
You just see Checker's eyes go wide. It's like, oh.
yeah, and I'm gonna say that we will treat that in the same way that we all treat that magic item out of game, where it's like, well, we've all heard of that. We know it.
Yeah.
We get it. We know what it is. Steve,
Yes.
could you roll me a D100, please?
D100. Okay, here we go. More rolling. 52.
Ooh, wow. Very average today.
Yeah.
Consistent.
Ooh,
Yeah.
this was actually an item that was on my list already.
Cool. Nice.
As you're kind of going around, you see a table that appears to just have several vials on it. You are playing around with one, and you know the usual test for these sorts of things, right, is just kind of like dip a finger into it, give it a taste, see how you feel, and try to guess from there.
Right.
When you do, there are indeed 4
Poison,
of these.
save or die.
Yeah. There are 4 of these. You would hope that they would be labeled if it was poison. Suddenly your throat gets really, really dry. Like you need a glass of water right now, or you might die.
Berga, do you happen to have some water handy?
She looks over at you. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot those were in here. And she actually happens to have just a water skin draped over her chair. And that's, I liked that. Someone is going to hate what you just
I
said.
hated that.
There we go. 1 out of 5 people hate that noise. You have 4 potions of water breathing.
Oh.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
David, could you roll me a D4, please?
I can.
D4 or D100?
D100. I keep saying that.
That is 37.
You go over to help Self, Obviously, because
Self, you're right.
Selv needs help. And after you have settled Selv and he is returned back to normal, regular terrestrial breathing, you see another 2 potions. If you were to do the similar kind of like dip a finger in and test it, you would make eye contact with Mango. And there would be like, I'm going to say it, there'd be a spark there, a connection. Something, there's a moment between the two of you where like you just like understand each other for a bit because there are 2 potions of animal friendship that you have also discovered. And because I'm a beautiful, generous DM, Jonathan, roll one more D100.
Nice.
D100.
All right.
Ooh.
Double or nothing. No.
Damn. If I was faster, I would have offered you a devil's bargain kind of thing.
Do it.
Because David would 100% take it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You can also offer it to Jonathan because he would also
yeah.
100% take it.
Roll 50 over, I get 2 items. If I roll 50 under, I die.
No. I'm going to say, just for fun, and just looking at what the other magic items are here.
We can roll on the CR 15 to 20 table.
No, but I will let you roll on one of the higher magic item tables. I'm just going to let you do it.
Okay.
Here's my devil's bargain.
Okay.
Is that Checkers is the one who finds it.
Oh.
I mean,
wait. Do the rest of us have to agree to that, or does Jonathan have to agree to that?
I am saying collectively, you all have to agree, but will be a much more powerful magic item opportunity.
Finds it, but it's not Checkers' magic item.
Exactly. It is not Checkers' magic item, but Checkers finds it, and that's as far as I'll say.
There's no way this can go poorly, everyone.
Yeah.
It will absolutely go poorly.
I'm too interested to say no.
That's that is why it's a devil's
I'm
bargain.
mad about it.
Selv has a decent passive perception and insight, so he might notice if it all of a sudden.
Sophie, will agree if Val does not have to play mom for Checkers in this moment. That
is an
parlay
extremely
on this devil's bargain.
valid thing.
I only have poison resistance, not fire resistance. If he drops the whole necklace of fireball,
Depends on what he rolls.
So
Fuck
I
it.
need David and Steve to agree to my
yes,
parlay of this
that's
devil's
fair.
bargain.
Sylvia will not be managing
Val-
Checkers today.
Val will have left already and be like, nope.
I'm not dealing with
This
this.
is up to
This
you
is your
guys.
problem now. That is fair.
Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Roll me a D100, please, Jonathan.
All right. D100 coming
Hopefully
in.
Self sees what
It's
this
a
is.
Vorpal net.
Coming in hot. 22.
Okay.
Could be worse.
We don't know.
It could have been much worse.
Tome of Ultimate Evil.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. I find what's this Necronomicon?
Yeah.
You Checkers.
Uh-huh.
This is maybe the best case scenario for everyone. You find a small bag.
Huh.
And it's, I would imagine, a little underwhelming at first, where you're like, well, we got all these cool potions.
Who left this old bag in here?
And it's just like, it's a handful, basically. And you kind of feel it, and there seems to be just little beads or something inside. You're not sure.
Someone left their bag of marbles? What's going on?
Would you like to look inside?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll open it up and just take a look at the stuff inside.
Inside this bag are 3d4 dry beans. The bag weighs half a pound plus 1/4 pound for each bean it contains, which is a very specific, weird thing to include in the description of a cool
That is
magic
a
item.
heavy bean.
It's a beefy bean. If you dump the bag's contents out on the ground, they explode in a 10-foot radius, extending from the beans. Each creature in the area, including you, must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw, taking 5d4 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. The fire ignites flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried. If you remove a bean from the bag, plant it in dirt or sand, and then water it, the bean produces an effect 1 minute later from the ground where it was planted. The DM can choose an effect from the following table, determine it randomly, or create an effect. And I'm not going to tell you what those are right off the top. This is a bag of beans.
So Checkers would open this bag, see there's just a bunch of like these beefy beans inside.
Quarter-pound beans.
The hell is this?
Yeah, or maybe like so Checkers would pull one bean out. Guys, I found old beans.
Beans?
Why were they keeping this in here? This sucks.
Maybe they had food rations in here.
Is there a
Checkers?
label?
Checkers is gonna like lick one.
The sensation that you get is one that even though Checkers has a noted history of licking and tasting strange things,
Yeah.
maybe a sensation that you probably have not experienced before because it is almost a shock wave, as if you were licking a warhead times 100 of both magical potency and just like strange spiciness on top of that.
Checkers makes kind of like a really weird face as though he's eating something that he really doesn't like. Just, these beans suck.
Mal's wart face?
Yeah, like Mal's word face. Puts the bean back in the bag and just like hands it to Cass like,
You don't lick food and put it back.
They're dry beans. It'll be okay. Berga,
I don't know who left these beans in here, but I got something to say to them.
I guess we could maybe soak these for a while. I mean, he's just like, I guess they're beans.
just can I have
They
these
must
for
be
a
here
moment?
For a reason.
Val will detect magic on them to make sure Cass doesn't use them in the chili.
They are magical, yes.
Yeah.
Huh. And he will kind of put them in the stash of the other magical items that we found.
Who brought magic beans in here?
They're
Checkers
magic.
just is very like disappointed that like he was rummaging around all this old stuff. He pulled out a bag and there was just dried beans inside.
Yep.
It's like Val is like swinging from a weird rod in the air. It's like
Checkers. Do you want to play with the rod? It stays in here. It stays in the vault.
All the toys stay in the vault.
all right, fine. You
Show me all of your digits while you say yes to that.
and Checkers would hold both of his hands up and like move one foot behind the other foot.
Nope. I said all digits, including feet.
I'm having a moment with Mango, and I'm really, really in tune to what he's doing. And I see him crossing two little fingers
Yes.
as Checkers is holding all
the fingers. Yeah. Okay, Val, I'll keep the rod in here. Can I play with it now? Come on.
The rod does not leave the vault for any reason. Mango included, and Junior. Here you go. So stand by the door.
Do you go strap yourself onto some strange surface?
Yeah, Checkers would like immediately just jump into the air and like hold on to this rod and then fall back down and not realize like, why isn't it working?
It needs to be stuck to a
Yeah,
thing. He's trying to
right.
just stick it into midair.
Yeah, right. So he plays around with it for a while and like tries to hang on to it and jump off things.
like sticks it to walls and
Yeah,
things, trying
right.
to get to turn on.
yeah,
How long does it take for you to find the button?
like a good 5 minutes probably.
We will say
I'm just loving the image of Checkers parkouring in
Yes.
the vault.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just like, why isn't it working?
say all of this is kind of happening congruently. And Berga says, oh, one last thing that I think is very useful, probably. And as Checkers is like swinging around
Mhm.
like true nonsense with his rod, she goes over to a panel on the wall and just opens it up. It looks almost like an electrical box in our world. And there is actually a literal just like big switch lever thing.
Cool.
And she looks at Val and winks and then flips the switch. And Checkers, you are, doing like Olympic gymnastics.
Yeah, right. Essentially.
Like the high bar. And then as soon you hear a ka-thunk as the switch is flipped and you fall to the ground and the rod falls with you.
hey.
What?
And she says, yes, this comes with an anti-magic field, which is useful for storing some nasty kind of things, as I understand. Some, I don't know if it will be foolproof. I'm sure that there are a great many things that are too magic,
Mhm.
but
Hey,
it's a thing.
yeah,
This
good to
is
know.
amazing.
This is amazing, Berga. As he's trying to like get the stick to work.
it to yeah. It's like, oh, sorry, and she flips it back, and
And
you can.
so while it's off, Selv is going to look at everybody. Do they still look like themselves?
That's a good question. I suppose that's
Says
true.
the player who's
Damn.
been playing D&D
Yeah,
for 20 years.
Does everyone look like themselves?
Yeah.
Jonathan's like,
Yeah.
So,
can I?
so there's Selv and 3 drow.
Yeah. I think Checkers
Yeah.
Cell will mimic a drow walking
The
a bar.
asterisk is not affected by
That's
magical
very true.
fields. Haha, fooled ya.
Got it.
So yeah, Berga says anything that you put down here will be totally secure, no problem, and is of course free for your use.
Thank you for showing us, Berga. This is
Of course,
amazing.
of course. Now, I will shut up here. I will get everything back where it needs to be. Obviously, take whatever you need to. You guys can go on your way.
Hi, everybody. It's Sophie here with the midroll. You can find us and all of the fun things we post, including some excellent memes, on Twitter at reckless_attack. Our podcast is also available on iTunes and Spotify, both of which now have reviews. So if you could drop us, I think they're both out of 5 stars. Any stars will do. And a review. We love to read them and really appreciate it. Last but not least, our podcasts are all posted on YouTube, where you can watch and comment. We also have some delightful clips of highlights of our episodes. So please check us out on any and all of those platforms. And here's the rest of the episode.
Now tell me about your to-do lists. Everyone's favorite part of D&D.
Checkers has a few things outlined for his day, and I think the first one would start off with actually going to go see Etris, because he and Etris have been working on a project
Indeed.
that started outside of the walls of Agmar and has continued to this moment.
Etris and the boys.
Etris and the boys about to cook up something spicy,
Yes.
potentially full of glue and toilet paper. So he would go check on Etris in the experimental shed out back and just be like, hey Etris, good morning.
So what I'm going to say,
Mm-hmm.
I will send you
Mm-hmm.
what happens
Okay.
or what the outcome is.
Okay.
At the table, all you all will see is you go and the door slams open and a big puff of smoke appears. Etris is like, hey, Checkers. Hey, how are you this morning?
I'm feeling pretty good.
I have some very exciting news for you. Come on in.
Everyone will just kind of see Checkers with this big frog grin on his face, just like walk into Etris's lair.
Yeah. And the
As the door
slam-
slowly
yeah.
Yeah.
closes behind him.
with with an unseen force. I will send you what he cooks up.
Okay.
What next? What else is everyone doing?
Kaskrin takes some time of the remaining time in this potion to just like pet Mango, and it's just like, yes, you are a good boy, Mango.
You just keep
Yeah.
taking tiny sips
Yeah.
of the potion.
Just like, this is nice. But is after Checkers is done talking to Etris, he kind of waits up a little bit before heading to the post office in nearby Agmar. So he is heading outside, and he's got 3 letters that he wants to send.
Hmm.
I imagine the post office just has like a person that I can hand things to.
Yes, definitely. It is a very classically lightly disinterested person at the post office. I'll say another slow-moving turtle person who is, we'll say, vaguely happy to help you.
Yeah. Okay. So one letter that he hands them is lightly crumpled and a little dirty.
Thank you.
Kaskrin has done his best to like flatten it out, but it's the letter from the fallen warrior that was fighting with the Grung that helped us. So he wants to make sure that that final letter gets to where it's going. It looks like it was meant to go back to Rakma.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The second letter is for the city of Lotros, Kaskrin's hometown. And this just seems like a regular letter. It's pretty flat, no big deal. It is just a check-in to see how everyone back at home is doing. And the final letter is actually, it's like a much thicker letter. It looks like it's got something in it. And it's also meant for Lotros. But these are the 3 items that he kind of gives to the post office person to send back.
Is your goal, at least your character's goal, to go by yourself?
No, he could really go with anyone. I'm also assuming that like at some point Checkers would come with or Valeska, but he doesn't have to go by himself.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how secretive you were or how anything you were around these packages.
No, not very secretive.
Cool. Does anyone else have any mail things? Again, we're all
The post
montaging it.
office is definitely on Val's list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Checkers. The only thing the Checkers might do is go with Kaskrin and see how the letters are being sent, and see if the boxes that they are being sent in are large enough for a frog. I'm imagining Checkers trying to put Junior inside one of the boxes that the letters are going into.
Yep.
And see if when the boxes are closed and used, does Junior go to wherever the mail ends up at, or when they open the box again, does Junior just kind of sit there and
Is
go,
he just still there? Can it be a living creature, basically?
Right, exactly.
And Sophie, what is Val sending?
Oh, so many things.
So then I imagine like everyone basically just made a mail run.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
And again, this
Okay,
doesn't
got
need
it,
to be this doesn't need to be in order either. It's just like at some point the three of you show up at the mail
Yeah,
at
sorry,
the post office.
Yeah, I can be with you in Checkers, or
Okay, yeah,
it
that's
can be
fine.
a different time.
No,
So
that's good.
Val is sending at least 10 notebooks back to her mom. Everything's back to her mom, basically. And like some of it's for the illustrious ATM / her mom, being like, hey, here's everything I experienced on this journey. Here's all this real weird shit, like prioritize, where it's like, hey, red notebook, read now, and I send me back. I have so many questions. I need answers. Post haste.
There's a system is
Yeah.
the point where it's like, here's the first pile and then here's the second pile, and you go through them in a particular order.
Oh, they're all labeled
Naturally.
like chronologically, but the red notebook is like the table of contents of the other notebooks, but
I-
also like,
Deeply love that.
but it's also like, oh, hey, there's an aberration that is attacking people with different phobias. Please help me figure out what the hell this
There's an
is.
insert note. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like diagrams of the hellish lobsters that we fought, and just kind of like the points of interest and things she wouldn't like ask her mom about. But it definitely opens on a page of, hi mom, I love you, I miss you, and like a heartfelt note.
Oh yeah.
Then that goes into immediately, there's an aberration and I need answers.
But priorities,
Mhm.
family first.
Yeah.
And then
It's like, hey
scientific
mom,
discovery.
say hi to dad. Tell my brother I love him, I guess.
I just have to ask, where in the list of like hi mom aberration is Hody? Questions about Hody.
Val's mom actually already knows about
Oh
Hody.
yeah, right.
Before we left Rockbus,
Yes.
Val ran back to her mom and was like, I have adopted a donkey.
we have a donkey now, mom.
Yeah. So there would be one whole notebook dedicated to Hody.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, these are more like diagnostic
Yeah.
observations, check-ins,
Mhm.
that sort of thing.
Hey, the nubbins haven't sprouted yet.
Nub lengths. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah. There's measurements, all of that.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that you guys would all know this is having lived in a couple of major cities. It works like this. I'll describe it. This turtle person takes all of your packages individually. There's a long line. It's pretty busy, and it costs some amount of gold that I will inform you of later when I have thought about it
Calculated.
further. But it is not free. Thank you. Appreciate your business. And walks over with your packages and kind of sorts them. They all go into various piles onto tables. As you guys are kind of there, and you can observe this as you're in line, they each get individually, you see there's an ink pad and a big stamp pad or stamper?
Stamp.
Just a stamp? A thing that makes a stamp maker?
The stamp makes stamp.
Stampede.
That is sitting on each of these tables. And there is someone at these tables doing the classic, like, big thud, big thud, big thud on the pad, big thud on a package, and are labeling each and every one of them. And there are signage saying, like, to all these different cities around the continent, some of them that you maybe even didn't know existed or didn't know still existed. They are getting stamped with magical ink, and they are all then loaded into these boxes. Then there is a complicated knock that happens on each of them that are different from every city. And then something happens. You assume, you don't see anything that happens, But then by the time they open up the box, it is all gone. And all of the mail has been teleported to a post office elsewhere.
Is the postal worker like knock on wood on the box?
Yes, exactly. Like not just different patterns and rhythms, but it is different parts of the box are being knocked on. Like, oh, right, left corner, 3 knocks. And then on kind of the middle side over on the left is another 5 knocks. It's just this whole like almost weird rhythmic thing that they go through. And then
I love it.
That's
I love it
cool.
so much.
poof.
Yeah.
These are all run by, surprise, surprise, a guild, but extend even further than the pentarchy. So there's a little bit of like, you have to have an address, you have to have a person that you're sending it to for the magic to work. Basically, it's kind of that weird magic
There's spell
timey-wimey wobbly
components.
things. Exactly.
An address is one of them.
But it goes well beyond, like it's not a pentarchy thing. It is a continental and in some cases maybe even worldwide thing that you can send this for a fee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking that Checkers would have put Junior on top of one of the big like mail stacks, but when the person doing the stamping got between, was looking at the mail and saw this little frog sitting on top of a stack of mail, they paused for just like a half second, and then Junior just hopped off.
Yep, and then his stamp goes
Yeah.
right down where
Right,
where he was.
Yep.
Perfect.
Well, I tried.
Steve, what's Selv up to?
Selv will actually, if Cass or Val does not mind taking a letter for him to the post office.
I was just like doing the gesture of give me.
Yes, we
Yeah.
would,
So-
we would
But
love
yes.
to take
So-
mail.
We would,
Self-
we would definitely do that.
Selv will send one letter home, basically saying, essentially, we've arrived in Agmar, getting set up. There's some interesting stuff going on, but don't worry, I'm safe. That kind of thing. Then he is going to go into I guess maybe start in the map room and looking for anything he can find about these creatures. So starting with, I know Val has been in there and organizing stuff. I'll start with, is there a section on aberrations?
Okay.
And we will
Excellent. Go
start
from
there.
Selv would find the stack of books on aberrations on the desk of doing, probably next to a pile of Val's notes. She didn't go to bed after the attack. She stayed
Already
up
started.
researching.
Yeah, so you would have a head start.
Yeah.
He will sit down at the desk of doing and start with that and see if he could find any reference to anything that comes close to what has been attacking.
Okay. And with that, we will end for this week. Next week, maybe more errands, maybe more conversations, definitely more danger on Reckless Attack.
Yay, danger!
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. We got stuff in the vault.
If you love Reckless Attack, you'll love the people who helped us make it possible. Our logo artist, Maggie Pearson, character artist Borg Cinnabon, and website designer Donnie Chung put together all the visuals you see for our podcast. We have some fantastic music too. Our opening and closing theme was written by Chicago-based composer Megan Carnes. We also used the works of Michael Gelfi and Alexander Nakarada for our background music. You can find all of their social media links and more info about them on our website, recklessattack.com. See you all next time.